Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Real News Politics. I am Jay. Welcome back to the channel. Today we will be talking about the Kavanaugh hearings. And like I said before, this is an unedited, uncensored channel. So it's going to be one solid clip, no breaks, no cuts, and no censoring. I'm not going to be doing any foul language, but I'm not going to censor it for people of the opposite party. So be forewarned, you will be offended if you're on the opposite party. So let's get into the news here. First of all, I wish I could have talked about this sooner. I had just uploaded my previous video when I saw this in the news, and I could not just drop what I was doing and do it. I could have if this were my main channel, but I do have another channel going on, so in time I hope to give this channel more attention. But for now, let's get into it. The Kavanaugh hearings. If you have been living under a rock, let me just summarize some things for you. Kavanaugh was a judge, or is a judge, and he's running for Supreme Court. But it was not so easy for him. Four ladies just came out of the blue and accused him of assault, led by Christine Ford Blasey. Now, the problem here is he didn't do it. So that's what we're talking about today, guys. Now, I just voiced my opinion, so I wouldn't blame if half of the people left. But we'll see. If you guys are still here, we'll continue to talk. So our number one reason for believing that he is innocent is because look at how many assault charges have been happening to literally every guy out there in the past year and a half or so. Ever since the Me Too movement started, literally, if you are a man, if you are a news reporter, an average citizen, a movie star, a politician, you are not safe if you are a man. Literally, every single man has been accused of assault. I just heard on the news a few days ago, this 13-year-old child was accused of assault in school. And the reason for that was because he had put an emoji in his profile page on Instagram, and it was the emoji of a black person, and he's white. And a lot of girls in his school thought that was racist somehow. If there's going to be any interpretation, I would say that he admires the African American community. So I don't understand what the problem is here. Anyways, that wasn't a big issue, but then we're seeing how that stemmed into this much bigger issue of assault. Those same girls came forward for them and said, he touched me, and so now, like, the principal believes them 100%. They called the police came over, they grabbed him, threw him in a holding cell, took his mug shots, got him his fingerprints, and now they're doing they're having a court hearing later this month to have 2 years potentially in juvenile prison. And there's no proof of this whatsoever. The thing is that the liberal media really controls what they want you to hear. So every time an assault charge falls through and it fails, you don't hear about that, do you? You only hear about them starting up, and you don't really hear about them ending. There's multiple assault charges. Like, let's take, I think his name's Gene Simmons from the band Kiss. A news reporter accused him of assault. And literally her quote was, he touched my knee. Her knee. So even if it happened, and we're not saying it did, even if it happened, that is not assault. I think we need to look up the dictionary of what assault is, because that is not it. Maybe it bothered her or bugged her even, but let me tell you something. That did not annoy her enough in the time to say something, because it was 16 years ago before she said anything. So, as you can see, it's getting quite a stretch here, because that's ridiculous even if that was true. Come on. I mean, and so as you can see, it's happening to a lot of people these days. Am I saying all people are innocent? No. But the problem is that there are a few real people out there that are offenders, and that's taking attention away from them. Because the next time someone accuses someone, and it's a real issue, they might not get a lot of attention from the conservative community because of how many charges there were. It's just like that scene from Incredibles 2, where the bad guy, Syndrome, is trying to get everybody to become a superhero, because as he put it, if everyone is super, no one will be. And the same theory can be used here, that if everyone is an assaulter, no one is. Because there are a few assaulters out there, I don't want to name any names, but we're taking attention away from them, the ones that really do need to be put in jail. I actually think we should dial back on this, because, like I said, for every, 500 fake accusations out there. There's one real one, and we need to be giving them that attention. It's very, very obvious that the Democrats are behind Christine Ford and potentially the other three people in keeping Kavanaugh from the Supreme Court. Namely, the accusation that Feinstein had, Dianne Feinstein, was in her possession for 20 days before she talked to Kavanaugh about a potential nomination. So she could have talked to him even then and said, we have this thing, just want to know if we can clear some things up before this goes public. But of course, she hangs on to it and releases it at a critical time to the public for maximum exposure, ruining the reputation of this man. Even if he's cleared, everyone will always remember this. It's always going to be on his reputation, and it's going to scar him for life as long with his family as well. If they don't want someone to be Supreme Court judge, they should vote against him. And if they don't have the votes to win, guess what? That means that they don't win. We live in a democracy where everyone has a chance to vote. And if there's more people in one party than the other party, that wasn't by accident. It's because voters voted for those people. So when there's less Republicans, the Democrats are like, well, you guys you got to vote, and maybe next time you'll have more people. But when there's more Republicans in office, then they just say, well, it's not fair. It's just against common decency. And so, they'll say these ridiculous charges just so that they don't have one more conservative in an office. It's absolutely ridiculous. They have voiced their intentions, which are to delay the hearing to a staggering lateness of 2020 in hopes that a new president will be elected and then we can have a new Democratic Supreme Court judge, which I think is just absolutely horrible to do this at the expense of this guy. And what's really more horrible is the lady that's going through this. And for those that have to say that she has nothing to gain, actually she does. There's 5 GoFundMe accounts that are being directed to her account, which so far compiles into $950,000 for her recovery. I don't think so. Look at the facts. When Kavanaugh came forward, he had a calendar detailing every single thing he's done for years and years. He had a clear, concise memory of everything he did every week, and just the fact that he didn't have time for parties because he was pursuing a time in college. The only thing they can get him on is drinking beer, which apparently is just an atrocious sin now. Like they haven't all drank beer too. Don't even get me started on that. Now let's look at Ford. Well, she may remember something possibly, but the details keep changing, and he might have been someone else, but maybe not. I don't know. So that's why they started with these 3 other women, because they're starting to think that her testimony is going to fall through, so they want to have 3 women to back it up just in case. It's getting pretty ridiculous, guys. Every single witness that she named, has come forward and said that it didn't happen. She has not found one witness, not one, to agree with her. She's had vague accusations from other people that claim to be related to Kavanaugh that said, he did it, but they're not in direct relation to Kavanaugh as a friend or relative, and Ford doesn't know them directly. They're random people. So those don't count. If she really knew them, she would have them come up and talk, but clearly she doesn't know them. So those don't count. I mean, she had plenty of opportunities to bring forward every witness, and every single one has denied it. It is very obvious that she's being coached. She's constantly talking to her lawyers, constantly looking down at a paper. She's clearly just script writing this whole thing and just reading it right off the paper. In fact, there's a video that shows as Christine Ford's lawyer stands up, this other senator, a Democrat from Texas, shakes his hand, and as she's shaking his hand, she passes him a white envelope. I mean, if that's not paying off somebody, I don't know what is. It's extremely obvious that they're doing something to the lawyer to continue this charade, because even the lawyer has to draw his line somewhere. Like, what the heck is this? I don't think so. It's just so horrible that they're doing all this to defraud this man, because as everyone has been saying, all these libtards, not only do they not want him to get the Supreme Court nominee, not only do they want him to never be a judge again, they want him arrested. It's just so horrible when you have the most impeccable, clean record of all time. And let me tell you something. If you have a horrible record, as they so claim, you don't come out of that as good as you have been. You would continue that lifestyle. I don't think a guy like that can have an amazing career and a family, a wife, and 2 kids, and be such as mild-mannered as he is now, having had a life like that. Now, for many liberals out there, they're saying, you're disrespecting this culture of offense. Like, how dare you? I just have to say, what I look at is the facts. And Kavanaugh didn't come forward and just start crying. Well, he did cry, but he had lots of facts. He didn't just say, well, you have to believe me because I'm telling the truth, and you just have to, which is essentially what Ford said. She kept changing her story. In fact, they did a polygraph to see if she was telling the truth. But when did they do the polygraph? The day her grandmother died. And so any spikes on the polygraph that are supposed to represent lying, she can just say, well, that was just emotion because my grandma died. I mean, that is the lamest excuse of all time. And we're still not quite sure who paid for the polygraph. But if my guess is, it's the Democrats. I mean, come on. So this is a concerted effort to keep him out of office, and it goes against every constitutional and everything written in the laws of America. And if they really wanted someone else to be in office, then perhaps they should have campaigned harder to get more Democratic senators in to get a Democratic president. But that is why we take turns. This is the problem. They still haven't learned a skill that 4-year-olds learn. It's called sharing and taking turns. We take turns in this country. The Democrats had Obama for 8 years. They act like they didn't have that. They had what they wanted, the first African-American president ever, for 8 years. If they wanted to do something, that was their chance. But the whole time they said, well, we can't really do what we want because we're still recovering from the 2008 recession that George W. Bush caused. That's strange, considering just a few months ago, Obama came out and said that, how the economy is so great? Well, it's so great because Obama saying this, did all of that, and Trump's just coasting off that wave of a great economy. Yeah, no, I don't think so. You can't blame the badness on Bush and then claim the greatness from Trump. You can't do both. He was a horrible, horrible president, and he's literally been our worst president ever. But you guys had your chance. The Democrats had their chance to do something. And now it's our turn. You guys will have another chance again in 2020. But, when Obama was elected, did me and other fellow conservatives go out and harass people, scream at them, throw signs in their face, set their cars on fire, insist that their social media accounts be banned? Do we do any of that? No. We saw who won and we're like, oh well. Because we did what we could as Americans. We voted, and that's all that we can do. Protesting is not going to do anything. In fact, it just hardens conservatives' resolve to vote for Trump even more. That's what you guys don't realize. There is no such thing as negative press. There is only press. CNN, MSNBC, ABC, and every news station out there is talking about Trump every single day. And they think it's negative press, but it's actually just making us think about him every single day, making us look more into what is Trump talking about. I mean, do you even remember ever looking into President Bush that much, or even President Clinton until the scandal, that is? Did we look into him that much? No. The media wasn't covering them every single day. So because of this, conservatives are even more determined to vote for Trump in 2020. Democrats have no idea what they're doing. So now, they should have it would have been better if they were just quiet. Because now we're just going to vote for him even more. We see everything that the liberals are doing, and it's out of control. Instead of talking like a normal human being, they're going out of their way to basically do domestic terrorism. Basically, these protests are not really peaceful. A lot of them are riots, harassing anyone that dares to stand in their way. That's fascism. Okay? It's so funny, this group called Antifa, which stands for anti-fascism, because they are literally fascism. They are going out and attacking people, making violent riots, attacking the police. That is called domestic terrorism. I don't know why it won't be seen as that. And for those that think that I'm just a single white male talking about these opinions, actually, I'm half Mexican. So I can say all that I want. Just because I look white doesn't mean I'm actually fully white. So that's all I have to say about this, guys. The issues continue like this every single day, and I can only hope that America votes well in the midterms elections coming up. Get registered to vote, guys. You can't get mad at the situation if you haven't voted and made your voice heard, guys. So whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, however you want it to change, go register to vote. And that is where you can make a difference, guys. All right, you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you next Wednesday.
I'm the head of state. You're like a head of cabbage. About to get smacked by my stimulus package. You're a bad man with no chance. You can't even touch me. I got 4 more years. 2 terms. In the White House. Just trust me. I hope you saved your best rhymes for the second half. Because right now, I'm 47% for kicking your